Hi guys, I am that boy Kyrie here, and on this episode I'll be talking about the Continental Congress and their response to the Coercive Acts. Okay, and so the Coercive Acts, if you guys didn't see the last video, they were basically a series of acts that took away the rights of the Bostonians and other colonists, and they included the Boston Port Bill, Massachusetts Government Act, the Quartering Act, and the Justice Act. Okay? And so, we saw that a Continental Congress was called in 1774, and in the South, there was different agendas than what the North had. Yeah, basically what had happened was in New England, they actually demanded military preparations and whatnot, and in the South, they just talked about economic boycott, and that's basically what ended up happening. Alright, so if you guys have seen Sons of Liberty, I've been talking about it forever now. I've been recommending it. It's a great show. It basically shows this divide very, very well. So inside of Sons of Liberty, Samuel Adams is going up to the Continental Congress the first time that they meet, and he's all like, "Oh, you need to prepare for war. We need to create a new country." All these crazy things like that. And everybody there is just not taking him seriously. And they're all like, well, I guess we can, write a letter to the king. And it's just hilarious. But that's actually basically what ends up happening. So Joseph Galloway of Pennsylvania, he wanted like a new system that's kind of similar to what the Albany Congress of 1754 wanted. If you guys remember those people. And basically what would happen was each colony would get to retain its assembly and, its say-so over local matters. But there would be like a national thing between the colonies, a national government between the colonies, which could, pass some legislation. And, it would still be under the king and they would still be part of Britain. But there'd be like a lot more independence. And all the colonies would come together nationally. Because before this point, all the colonies, they were in separate regions, and they were basically their own little mini-states. State meaning country, of course, not our definition of states, but, they were their own little mini-states. Okay? So, a lot of people were opposed to this system, either because they saw it as going too far, and it being unnecessary, or they saw it as being too conciliatory to the British. Especially with the more radical people who wanted to secede from England at this point. And so basically what they did was they came up with this thing called the Declaration of Rights and Grievances, which demanded the repeal of the Coercive Acts. And also it was in part a protest to the Declaratory Act of 1766, okay, which the Declaratory Act, which basically just gave Parliament extreme supremacy over the colonies. And so a lot of the colonists, they weren't happy about this, and so they put that in there as a stipulation too. And what they did was they planned on stopping importing British goods and doing like a super boycott. Not just like the little boycotts that they had before, but like no British commercial goods at all after December 1774. And if Parliament did not, buckle in and, get rid of the Coercive Acts by September 1775, the plan was to cut off all colonial exports. Not just boycott, but complete total separation from Britain, Ireland, and even the British West Indies. So there'd be like nothing. Okay? So it would go from super boycott to, okay, we're not dealing with the English at all economically. We're going to screw their economy over super duper badly. And so, of course, the British response to the Declaration of Rights and Grievances was just perfect, in my opinion. It wasn't a good response, but I just think it was a very funny response, and it basically just shows like how awful, republicanism can be sometimes. So basically, what happened was in January 1775, William Pitt, who was in the House of Lords as the Earl of Chatham, asked Parliament to renounce its power to tax the colonies and to recognize the Continental Congress as like an actual legitimate body of government. And so the British ministry, of course, is all like laughing at Pitt's plan. They were LMAOing. And they were all like, no. We had backed down twice from colonial boycotts. We're not going to do it again. And so Lord North actually went gangsta on these people. So he said that Americans must pay for their own defense and administration and also acknowledge Parliament's authority to tax them. And Lord North even sent a naval blockade on American trade with foreign nations, and he ordered General Gage to suppress any dissent in Massachusetts. Okay? Because a lot of the dissent in Massachusetts became so bad that Governor Thomas Hutchinson was actually forced into exile in London. So Thomas Hutchinson, he was gone because all the Patriots hated him so much that he had to flee. Alright? And so the British response was just all like, man, you thought, like, they were not going to buckle into the Declaration of Rights and Grievances, of course, by the Continental Congress. Alright, that's it for today's video. I am that boy Kyrie. As always, remember to follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat at that boy Kyrie. Please hit that subscribe button. Peace.